Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, coming up in today's podcast, we are going to be previewing the two big games coming up on the weekend. First up, we have Spurs versus Manchester United. And the other game on the agenda is Man City, now Super Cup champions, versus Newcastle. But let's first start with looking at the Spurs Manchester United game. Spurs now caneless and Man United coming off, what could be classified as a very lucky win versus Wolves in their last game. So this one is going to be taking place at White Hart Lane. And of course, Spurs will be looking to put things right and get off the mark with 3 points. Their last game coming against Brentford, and that was an away fixture, which they played well, but much to build on going forward, especially now that Kane has jetted off to Bayern Munich. Spurs will definitely be looking to put right their attacking threat. So the likes of Son, Richarlison, and of course, new signing Maddison should be looking to put their mark on this team and fill that goal gap left by Captain Kane, who is now plying his trade in the Bundesliga with Bayern Munich. Big change at the spearhead there for Spurs. And of course, Manchester United will be looking to take full advantage of this. They played their game against Wolves. They pulled off what could be classified as a very rather lucky 1-0 win. Didn't play well at all, but did manage to secure the victory nevertheless. And they will be looking to get their season off or continue their season. They have secured 3 points in the bag, and they'll be looking to solidify that by going for another 3 points. Of course, the likes of Rashford really did not shine well against Wolves. He is now playing the number 9 role, but I question whether or not that's his best position in this team. Oftentimes much of his success last season came off the flanks. But this time around, for the first game of the season versus Wolves, he played through the middle, occupying that number 9 position. Didn't do well. Overall, the Manchester United team looked rather lackluster, out of sorts. New signing Mount trying to bed in and develop some sort of chemistry in the middle there with Fernandez and Casemiro. And of course, looking to link up the play with, the attackers. But wasn't a good look versus Wolves. They did manage to get the 3 points, but much is still desired in terms of the general all-round play of the team. And of course, what the manager is asking for in terms of the patterns of play and building from the back. That is part of the reason they signed new keeper Onana. And he was at the center of some controversy in that last game where you could easily say the referee missed a stonewall penalty, which Onana was responsible for. And Man U got away with that one and managed to secure a 1-0 victory. So this one going to be a big clash, of course. This one taking place at White Hart Lane in front of the Jubilant fans. And, I believe both teams will be looking to go for a win. So I am anticipating a rather open game. From a Spurs point of view, what can we expect in terms of their lineup? I don't see much changes from their previous game coming into this one. I think the team gave a good account of themselves against Brentford, that one ending in a draw. And I believe they should be looking to build on that going forward. The likes of Son and Richarlison should be leading the attack. Son was recently given the captain's armband, and he should be looking to really put a mark on this season. He had a rather poor season last year based on his standards, and with now the void that Kane has left, he should be looking to step in with goals and assists and trying to link up with Richarlison. Of course, the standout performer for Spurs in the last game was Maddison. He made a transfer from Leicester City, now relegated, and he really did display some quality against Brentford, creating quite a number of chances. And I'm sure he'll be looking to replicate that performance against Manchester United. I believe Manchester United should be sturdier opponents, however, and he may not get as much freedom as he did in the Brentford game, but you can definitely see the quality he possesses, especially from set play. He made a rather wicked delivery, you could say, for that Spurs goal that was headed in by Romero. It was set on a platter for Romero. He really could not miss. And the delivery from the set ball is always one of the assets that Maddison brings to this team, as well as his all-round play, his passing and creativity in the heart of the midfield for Spurs. Of course, in that game as well, Romero went off injured. So that is something to look at. There may be a change there if he hasn't recovered from that injury in the heart of the Spurs defense. He went off quite early in that game, just after scoring the goal. And his assessment, I am not sure. He may be very well questionable for this game. So there should be at least one change there in the defense for Spurs. Manchester United, on the other hand, still trying to find some form, you could say, still trying to find some chemistry. And Ten Hag may very well push forward a similar team just to give them another opportunity to play together, gel together, and try to develop, that kind of form. Garnacho got the start in the last game on the flank. He, to me, had a rather subpar, poor game. And he could possibly be one of the changes in this game. Sancho may very well come in for him. I believe the midfield three should remain the same as well. That midfield three consists of Mount, Bruno, and of course, Casemiro playing the defensive mid position. And of course, defensively, they seem to have a set backline at this point in time where in goal, Onana, the new signing. In front of him should be Varane. And, next to Varane should be Luke Shaw there on the flank, left back. And you have one Bissaka should be locking down the right back position. He seemed to have secured that position. And next to Varane, I believe you have the Argentinian Martinez. He should come back into the fore. He got an early yellow card in that game against Brentford and was substituted at halftime. Lindelof came in for him, but I believe he should retain his position or his place in the team against this Spurs outfit. So it should be a very interesting game. This is usually a high-scoring game in previous seasons. This one coming very early in the season as well, the second game. And, teams are finding their feet in the league, so to speak. So, however, 3 points are on the line and both teams should be galvanized and full of energy for this one. It should be a very tense atmosphere as well. The fans, the jubilant Spurs fans will be looking to push their team to get a win in this one. And of course, you're playing against the might of United, and teams usually lift their standards once Manchester United comes to town. So this should be a very interesting one. This is one which is very hard to call, in my opinion. This one could go either way. Manchester United looking very lackluster, very out of sorts, and of course Spurs look decent against Brentford, but with some defensive fragilities. So, and of course, the loss of Kane is a big loss. You're looking at minus 30 goals right there in the Spurs team. So, it's yet to be seen whether or not the attacking players can fill that void left by Kane. Richarlison hasn't been the most prolific since his signing from Everton, and he should be looking to step up this season. So, it's going to be a tight affair. This one is very hard to call. However, my gut instincts is telling me that this one will end in a draw. So I am going to go with a scoring draw for this one. I'm thinking possibly 1-1 in this affair. And, both teams will leave this one with something in the bag to take home. But it should be a very interesting watch. And this one coming up on Saturday morning. So you can set your alarm clocks for that one. But we move to the big game, Manchester City versus Newcastle. Of course, in midweek, Manchester City was crowned Super Cup champions, taking that one over Sevilla, after they played to a 1-1 draw in regulation time. It then went down to penalties, and Manchester City held their nerve and came away with that one as victors, pretty much adding to their trophy cabinet after a treble winning season. They have now the Super Cup under their belt, and the next big title should be the Club World Cup. So they'll be looking to do a clean sweep of all these trophies, by the end of this season. Newcastle, very good game, very good performance against an Aston Villa team last time out. So Newcastle should be full of confidence entering into this one. And likewise, Manchester City should be galvanized by that victory over Sevilla. So, they played midweek, they played on Wednesday. So they should be looking to get back to Manchester, this one taking place at the Etihad, and looking to be prepared for this one. This game, interestingly, is taking place late on Saturday. This one is taking place around 3 o'clock Eastern time, 2 o'clock Jamaica time. And this is an unusual time for a kickoff in England. So this one is going to be interesting as well. Both teams are playing well, are playing some good football, I would say. Newcastle have developed a culture of winning under Eddie Howe and really is no pushover these days. And they will be going to the Etihad, I believe, with positivity in the team. And they should be looking to come away with 3 points. I don't believe Eddie Howe should approach this one with any negativity. I would just send the team out and say, hey guys, let's go out there and get these 3 points, because, they were rampant against Aston Villa. And over the last 2 games for Man City, many changes have taken place. Many players have gone out and transfer. The likes of Mahrez has left. And now we are hearing that Kevin De Bruyne has a long-term injury. So that's taking away a bit of the creativity that Man City had or have. You're taking away Mahrez, down the flank, taking on players, whipping in those crosses, and of course, contributing with goals. And of course, the brilliance of Kevin De Bruyne. They will be without Kevin De Bruyne for this game. Other players have to step up. I am also hearing that Bernardo Silva is also nursing a knock. So if there was ever an opportunity for Newcastle to get one over on Man City, I believe now would be the time. Of course, Man City still has their prolific striker Haaland. They still have a fairly rock-solid defensive unit as well, with new signing Gabriel coming in the heart of the defense there, and John Stones also possibly getting back into the fold. He was nursing a knock for the first game of the season, but he should be back in the mix for this one. Of course, he has been starting at centre-back and then tucking into that midfield to give support to Rodri, who is usually at the base of that Man City defense. But Newcastle also have their own trio of quality midfielders, and that was on full display in the Aston Villa game. New signing Tonelli impressed on his first outing. Bruno Guimaraes, the maestro at the base of that playmaker at the base of that Newcastle midfield. And of course, the workhorse Joe Linton. Those trio seem to be forming a very good chemistry. And of course, up front, you have the speed merchants, Almiron, he looks like a renewed or a reborn player under Eddie Howe, full of running, full of pace, full of trickery. Garden, the young speedster who signed from Everton, should get this another start as he had a terrific game against Aston Villa. And of course, Isak, it will possibly be a toss-up between Isak and Wilson. But I believe just on the form of Isak, Isak should get the nod again to start. And then, of course, Eddie Howe will have that rabbit in the hat. Wilson, who could come on and make a big difference in this game as well. Especially now with the new rule of time added on, we're now seeing players who may come on at the 60-minute mark who would usually get 30 minutes. They are now looking at upward of 40 to 45 minutes out there. So it's more time for them to make an impact in the game. So the bench, the quality in depth, of course, Newcastle also has Barnes as well, the winger who came over from Leicester. So what we're seeing from the Newcastle team is real quality in depth, especially in the attacking third. And this one is shaping up to be very, very competitive. As I said, if there was ever a time, it is now. It is early in the season. Man City, I would say, is still finding their footing. They are still getting new players accustomed to the system, the likes of Kovacic, who has come in from Chelsea, and trying to cope with what you could say the loss of Kevin De Bruyne. So I sense a chink in the Man City armor. Of course, Haaland blanked against Sevilla as well, but was quite prolific against Burnley, the promoted team, which they faced in the first game of the season. So Man City, of course, always has the firepower to hurt teams. And of course, Pepe will always be looking to control the game, especially in the middle of the park and try to dominate possession. But, Eddie Howe has this Newcastle team really pressing well. And I think he should be brave in this game. He should continue that high press against Man City and hope to catch them out, nick the ball high up on the pitch and possibly feed it into a Isak, who, is in red hot form at the moment. So I feel Eddie Howe need to take a brave approach if they are to get something from this game. Man City may also be a bit tired, especially with their extra game that they played midweek as well. So Newcastle should be the fresher team. Man City may be a little fatigued, a player here or there. Of course, this is coming early in the season as well. Teams are still looking to find their rhythm, looking to find their footing in the league. And that's what makes this encounter so interesting. This one is very tight, I would say. And as I said, if there was ever an opportunity to get something from Man City, now is the time. So for me, in this one, I am leaning towards a draw, a scoring draw. I feel this one will end 1-1. I feel both teams will score. I believe Newcastle has a bit of confidence coming into this game. They can defend well, but they also have quite a bit to offer on the offensive side of things as well. And I feel if Eddie Howe is brave, that will be the key tactic in this game. Eddie Howe must show some bravery. I would send out the same team that played against Aston Villa and say, hey guys, this is your opportunity. Go and show us what you can do. And I feel they may very well get something from this game. Man City on the other hand will be Man City, they will look to build from the back, look to dominate the middle of the park, look to take possession of the game, and of course, look to break down and create chances. And of course, Haaland is there. And once you give him a sniff of a chance, chances are he's going to hurt you, and he's going to hurt you with goals. So by now, all defenders in the league will definitely have to be aware of Haaland. It will be interesting to see from a tactical point of view how the Newcastle defense cope with him, the likes of Batman in the middle of the part there, have had a very good season last year and will be looking to replicate or even improve on that form this season. Of course, Trippier there, the set play specialist, so that may come into play as well, set play goals. He usually whips in those corners and those free kicks. So Man City will definitely have to be aware of the set play threat and will be looking to cut down fouls and corners in and around their box. But it should be an interesting game. I am definitely looking towards this game. Two very two very difficult game to call so early in the season. These are two or four big name teams which are usually competing at the top of the table season in, season out. And, with the new signings, with the farm that these teams are in, it's very hard to call. It's like tossing up a coin, it's 50-50. But for me, I'm looking at both these two games going down to the wire being very competitive and both games ending in draws. But viewers and subscribers, let me know what you think in the comment section. What is your prediction? How do you think these two games will end? Spurs versus Manchester United and Manchester City versus Newcastle. These are the two big games coming up over the weekend. But viewers and subscribers, I'd just like to thank you again for tuning in to us here on Beating the Press podcast. If you haven't subscribed as yet, please feel free to do so. Help us to grow the channel by sharing. We're looking to grow and continue to develop over the period, and that is the best way you can support us at this point in time. If you are already a subscriber, then share with your friends, encourage them to also become subscribers, and that will definitely help the channel grow from strength to strength. But thank you again for tuning in to us. Until next time, this is Rafa signing off.